Yeah, that's a good point. Good point.
I'm ready for today.
All right, good. So, yeah, you are really you're an amazing Giants fan. You know that?
Well, thank you.
In so many ways, and it doesn't matter. The one thing I've noticed about you, I'm guilty of this. When the Giants are not doing good, or if they lose like they did Sunday to the Eagles and they got blown out like they did, and then they have all the injuries that they had, I turn sour, and I get negative. And I'm thinking, all right, here we go, 5-11. I'm disgusted, man. I'm just pissed off, and people don't even want to talk to me or be around me. You, on the other hand, I have noticed you're always positive and always thinking positive, and you're always looking at the glass half full instead of half empty. How the heck do you do that week after week?
Well, when you grow up as a kid in the 70s as a Giant fan, this is a pretty good time to be a Giants fan. The glass was half empty. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I thought the name of the Giants until I was 9 years old from my father was the G-damn Giants. They were just, if we could find a way to lose, we will. I grew up with that. So that's why, you look at this new golden age of Giants football that we're in with Eli and Tom Coughlin. And you really got to be grateful for what we have today. And that's, I do get a little bit frustrated with the fan base sometimes. Let's bench Eli, cut him. We got to fire Tom Coughlin.
Oh, yeah. We're going to miss him when he's gone. Yeah.
Yeah, easy, guys. We're talking about two potential Hall of Famers, two-time Super Bowl MVP. Relax.
I think that's an interesting point because I grew up also watching them in the 70s and the Pisarchiks and, all that stuff, okay? And yet, I get really aggravated and pissed off and negative when I see them lose, even right now during these what I consider pretty good times. I would agree with you. So it's had the opposite effect on me, evidently, that it's had on you. So
don't get me wrong. Cablevision had to replace a couple remote controls over the last few years. So it's not like it's all wine and roses over here either. But the truth of the matter is it's always seemed to be the darkest before the dawn with us. In 2007, that Vikings game.
Yeah.
2011, that Redskins game.
Yeah.
And it just seemed like that we were able to turn it around. And there's a lot of fans that are like that. I'm very good friends with license plate guy, Joe Ruback.
Oh, yeah.
He's that way.
Yeah.
Very good buddy of mine. And
I really liked that jersey he wore last week before the Philly game.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, that took some guts. But that's the kind of fan he is. He's an over-the-top kind of guy. But I could see the chatter was turned way down this week across the board from the team all the way down to a lot of the fans.
Yep.
So this was a good thing, and that also gives me a good feeling that Coughlin was able to rein in these players and saying, okay, little humble pie is good. And it's funny if you would watch. I always look so forward to Giants.com Tuesday when they put up the sights and sounds of the game, and Tom Coughlin always saying humility and victory. And I think that got really pounded into the players this week.
Yeah.
Because we heard nothing.
Yeah.
Which is what I like.
Well, that's the way it's supposed to be. I'm surprised all that stuff went down the week leading up to the Philadelphia Eagles game. But, that was let's talk about that here for a moment. I mean, it felt like I was in hell that night watching that game. 27-0, of course, all the injuries, the big injury to Cruz, and now McBride is gone for the year. And I'll tell you what's concerning to me more than anything is Perry Fuel's defense. I am so sick and tired of seeing wide receivers, tight ends, and running backs running wide open 15, 20 yards down the field.
Calvin Johnson, A.J. Green, Des Bryant, and I mean not a defender within 7 to 10 yards.
I mean, there was a third-string tight end for the Eagles running wide open for a touchdown last Sunday night. I mean, what is up with this defense?
It is frustrating, and I think it really is predicated upon pass rush. When you're playing a zone, you're counting on your front four to get there, and if you look at Ayers and Hankins, it looks like they really are getting pushes up the middle, but it seems like JPP and Matthias Kiwanuka seem to be not getting to the quarterback from the outside, and this is going to be important today to contain Tony Romo because let's face it, New York's, the country's favorite quarterback likes to extend plays with his feet, and that's a concern because if we can't do that, it's going to be a long day with Jason Witten over the middle, who has torched us. And you're right, we're still 4-1 in their house. As a matter of fact, I watched the inaugural game of the monstrosity out there in Texas that Eli signed the wall. But it's a problem, and Jason Witten was in my mind all week, knowing how open the tight ends were over the middle.
Your grandmother can get wide open on this defense right now. I mean, this is just so super frustrating.
But Bert,
it is very frustrating, and we have press cover guys. I don't know why we keep dropping back into zone.
Thank you. That's exactly the point I was just going to make. You just stole my thunder. Bert, we're with Bert Dman Bennett here on Game Face 940 and 1510.
And let's mention that Bert is like the Facebook Giants guy here, man. There's a lot of new people listening, Giants fans listening to this show this morning because of Bert, and we want to thank you very much for that, Bert.
Bert, what is the name of the site?
I love your show, Fratt-man.
What is the name of the site and or Facebook page, the address?
Oh, well, we have a couple of fan pages. I have no personal page other than myself, but New York Giant Fans Unite is one of our pages, and we have another page that we kind of, we admit that we keep it a little bit more smaller and low-key. We call it Big Blue Hardcore Blue, which is like more of like, the really hardcore guys. Joe Ruback is there. Joe Ganascoli, who played Vito on The Sopranos, is a member there. Forget about it. It's all about respect. But we have these guys that, and it really is kind of like a little bit of a brotherhood. We meet up for the tailgates. We always meet up at G16 with a buddy of mine who has the fan band.
Yeah.
Stephen Baker's there all the time. So we have like this really tight-knit group of guys that really, we call ourselves the one percenters because we don't want to cut Eli Manning and we don't want to fire Tom Coughlin, and we try to keep it as blue as possible, so to speak. And we're kind of sick and tired of WFAN too, Fratt-man. We're calling it the Jets flagship station.
Yeah, what the heck is going on? I mean, we need more Giants fans calling into that radio station and saying, hey, guys, how about waking up? Because most of those hosts over there are Jets fans, and this is the
Sammy
flagship.
Francesa hates the Jets, and we're still not getting enough airtime.
Unbelievable. I mean, first of all, more than 30 minutes out of the hour on that radio station are commercials. I don't know how New Yorkers listen to that radio station. They sound like they're from 1972. And then you're getting mostly baseball discussion more than anything else, even in the heart of football season. And then if you do hear football, it's the Jets.
Well, that's why when you get Carl Banks on, who happens to be the only real Giants guy there, and I know Carl, and, I remember when he called out Carton for not resigning after he swore he would if the Giants won the Super Bowl in 2011.
Right.
Yeah, well, Carton's a bonehead as far as I'm concerned.
Does he speak English?
All right,
let's just jump back to football very quickly.
Well, before we do that, WFAN, a microcosm. You heard our last segment, right, Bert?
Yeah, I listened to the last segment.
Yeah.
And, you forgot to mention Joe Beningo.
Do the Beningos.
Over there. What about that? Over there.
But back to your point earlier about the press corners. We brought Walter Thurman in and Dominique Rogers-Cromartie to play press cover on the outside, not zone.
And also having Prince who can play press too. I mean, he did a reasonably good job the last couple of seasons.
Exactly.
But now we have all these injuries and
no pass rush coupled with zone defense equals getting scarred in the passing.
Well, and Walter Thurmond is gone, of course, and now McBride is gone, and now Cromartie's only playing at 60%. I mean, unbelievable. This is the most injury-plagued team in the league year after year.
Frustrating. And I remember when Tom Coughlin was hired, it was injuries of cancer. We're going to do away with it.
Oh, yeah.
That still resonates with me. But, we have Bowman, who I think is a guy, my step-up kind of guy. I loved him in the preseason. He was a ball hawk.
Oh, I agree. I like Zach Bowman.
But that injury to Thurman, that was painful. But the other thing too is we can turn up the heat. John Beeson's a big part of this. If we can get some pass rush blitzing from the linebacker level, maybe we can provide be able to get some more pressure on the quarterback and collapse the pocket and make. I don't care who you are. If you're a quarterback in the NFL, you don't like having people at your feet or getting hit.
Well, you got to stop the run here. That to me is first and foremost.
And that's a trap.
DeMarco Murray is going to be a handful today. There's no question.
That's a trap for us because the Giant defenders might get in their head that we're not going to give up the record-setting 7th 100-yard game, and that will do nothing but open up the passing lanes over the linebackers. They need to be careful with the pride factors. My father would say, swallow your pride or you'll choke on it.
This is CBS Sports Radio, 940 on Classic AM in Connecticut, 1510 in New York, and, of course, 940sportsradio.com. Cisco and the Fratt-man and our new face, Bridget. And, of course, we got Bert on the phone with us, one of the biggest, most positive Giants fans on the planet from what I can see. So, Bert, here we are at 3-3, okay? And we're going down and playing a supposed 5-1 football team. What are your thoughts if the Giants lose? What are your feelings going to be at that point, sitting at 3-4 going into the bye week?
And 1-2 in the division.
Yes.
It really comes down to is protect your house at that point. We stole one in Washington, and you're going to have to run the table at home then, and then you're going to have to win some football games that are at this point. Everyone's going to lose faith in us. I won't.
I know you won't. Ditto.
Yeah. Call me a homer. People say that to me like it's a bad thing. I don't think it's a bad thing.
No, it's a good thing.
License plate guy and I made that comment not long ago. We're homers. We admit it. Call us what we want.
It's a good thing.
I think if we can just be able, it really comes down to the gelling of that offensive line. It comes down to the guys with the 5 hands in the dirt to get the run game going and protect Eli. And we see what Eli Manning can do on offense when he's protected.
Oh, no doubt. In fact, this offense, the offensive line has got to be doing their job for this offense to work, and we've seen the results if the offensive line is doing their job. Obviously, they took a big step back last Sunday night, especially Pugh, who played horribly.
That elbow, I think, is bothering him a lot more than we know.
Yeah, that, and I just think, you're going down there without your starting running back. You're going down there without your starting nickel corner. You're going down there with Cruz. Just Cruz gone now. I mean, it's just, to me, it just seems like a really tall order at this point.
It's a tall order, but, you've seen what the Giants and Tom Coughlin prepping his guys can do when their backs are up against the wall.
Yeah.
So you can't, it's a question of which team is going to show up. There's no question. I'll be the first to admit that in reality.
Yeah.
Are we going to see the ones that just totally demolished the Falcons and the Texans, or are we going to see the guy, the 53 who showed up in Philly or didn't show up in Philly last week?
Well, and that is a little bit of a concern as well. Good point, because the Giants are 2 completely different teams sometimes from Sunday to Sunday, and Coughlin has got to be a little concerned here with the fact that when they lose, they seem to be losing 34-0, 27-0, 31-3.
Blown out.
Yeah.
Remember that stat I showed you? Since 2012, 20 of the losses weren't even competitive games. We're getting scorched in the first half, which means you're only in throwing mode in the second half, which makes us far less effective. It takes away the run, the play action pass, and the short passing game.
Yeah.
Well, that's the and it's funny. I did a split over the off season of last year when Eli was playing from behind, and you're right. The sack numbers were up, the pressures, the knockdowns. And it changes the entire, and we become that truly one-dimensional team.
Yes.
And that's going to be even more critical this time because we've lost Victor Cruz, who is a yards-after-catch guy.
Yeah. Perfect for this new offense.
For the West Coast. But
right. Perfect for this new offense, and he's gone.
Now, Bert, why isn't Washington getting more snaps?
That's a good question. He totally abused backups and guys that are basically bartending now.
I think you got to let him cut his teeth. Cut his teeth.
My theory behind that is the first action they gave him, he had a pass thrown into the end zone from Eli right in his hands, and he dropped it. And when you're a rookie and that happens, Coughlin's going to say, that's it, you're sitting down for a while.
But it's not like he fumbled. It's not like the fumble rule with David Wilson that he coughed up the rock first couple of touches, you have to sit. He dropped a pass. Victor Cruz was dropping passes like it was free the first 3 or 4 games of the season. So I didn't see him benched.
I call that the big contract.
He's not a rookie.
Yes, exactly, Bert. That's exactly what it was.
Yeah. So, Bert, have you seen...
But also to get Andre Williams, more involved, and granted, he came out of BC with some staggering number of yards from scrimmage without a single catch. Teach him how to catch. Let's start getting screenplays going. Let's be able to free up these wide receivers downfield. Let's get people to respect the run game. And Eli Manning's play action is about as good as anybody's in the league. I don't care what they say. it really, like I said, it goes back to, again, getting him time, and getting the ball downfield to wide receivers that are able to make the yards after catch.
Yeah.
Odell Beckham is going to have to be that guy.
Bert D-Man Bennett, right here on Game Face. So happy to have you with us, Bert. We're going to have to wrap it up here for today. We only get an hour to do this show, unfortunately, on Sunday mornings, but we cram in 4 hours within a 1 hour time frame, as you can see and hear. And we'd love to have you back, of course, in the near future.
Anytime, just ask Fratt-man. I'll be back.
Every single Sunday, year-round, we are here talking the National Football League. Hey, Bert, before we let you go, one last thing. What do you think, from what you've seen this week out of the football media, the bonehead of football media toward the Dallas Cowboys, the slobbering and the slurping that's been taking place all week long? Give us your microcosm thought here.
Well, my microcosm thought is, hey, Tony Romo, show me your rings. That's it.
Said.
If he's so great, if he's going to Canton, show me your rings. Because I've seen the B side of that where my quarterback was a 2-time MVP Super Bowl winner. He doesn't get any respect.
Bert D-Man Bennett back on Game Face in a moment.
Take care, Steve.
Real estate appointed you today.